Welcome back, everyone, to the smartest year ever, our quest to become the world's greatest conversationalist. My name is Gordy, and I was just wondering, why does tennis scoring go love 15, 30, 40 instead of 1, 2, 3, 4? Give me 5 minutes. I bet you can work this into a conversation today. Also, like and subscribe so you can keep up. I do this every single day. If tennis were invented today, the scoring would probably make sense, but it wasn't. It grew out of medieval France when the game was still called jeu de paume, the game of the palm. Players whacked the ball with their bare hands across a rope, and matches were scored using the odd increments we still have, 15, 30, and 40. So why those numbers? Well, that's where the mystery begins. One of the most popular explanations is the clock face theory, the idea that early scoring mimicked a clock dial. Each point moved the hand a quarter turn, 15, 30, 45, and 60 to win the game. At some point, 40, 45, became 40, 40, possibly to make space for deuce, that 40-40 tie that requires 2 consecutive points to win. That explanation is elegant, but not universally accepted. Historians note that 15, 30, 45 scoring appeared in early records of jeu de paume before clocks with minute hands were even common, which makes the clock theory a bit suspicious. Now, there's no firm evidence that players ever used actual dials or timepieces to score, and the connection might just be metaphorical, not literal. Other historians argue for a 60-point game system in which reaching 60 won the jeu, the game. 15-point increments may have come from medieval betting units, since wagers were often made in multiples of 15 deniers. It's spelled like deniers. In this view, tennis scoring didn't come from clocks, because clocks came later, as I mentioned. Another major theory involves distance. Some versions of jeu de paume were played on courts roughly 90 feet long with like 45 feet on each side, and the players supposedly advanced 15 feet towards the net after each point, 15, 30, then 40 rather than 45 to prevent getting too close to the net. And it's a satisfying bit of geometry, but the problem is that historical courts weren't really standardized. Not every court was 90 feet, and there's no proof that movement was tied directly to scorekeeping. Either way, French nobility loved jeu de paume, and when it spread to England in the 1500s, Henry VIII famously built indoor courts at Hampton Court Palace. The quirky French scoring came along for the ride. Even after rackets replaced palms and lawn tennis was born in the 19th century, the old scoring stayed untouched, kind of a fossil of a royal pastime buried inside a modern sport. As for love, the term love, apparently it's not really about romance. There's one theory that says it comes from the French love, like egg, L'Oeuf, meaning egg, as it resembles the shape of 0, but another suggests it comes from the English phrase playing for love, meaning for nothing, like out of just the love of the game. And both ideas are centuries old, and from what I've read and seen, neither can be fully proven. And then there's deuce, and that comes from the French word deux, meaning 2, referring to the need for 2 consecutive points to win the game once the score is tied at 40-40. Attempts to modernize tennis have been made. Jimmy Van Allen in the 1960s proposed using a tiebreak system to shorten marathon sets, and it worked, but the old scoring itself stayed intact. No one's really quite brave enough to mess with the tradition that deeply, it seems. So there you have it. Tennis scoring doesn't make perfect sense, but that's part of its charm, I guess. It's a relic of medieval math, money, and maybe even geometry. It's just a sport that really never bothered to modernize its numbers because, it works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let me know if you've heard a different or better explanation. I'm not a huge tennis player. I enjoy playing with my wife. I enjoy, getting outside and stuff, but I'm just more curious about the scoring. Like when I had this idea, I thought this would be a lot more of a straightforward episode than it was. So I'm curious to know if you've heard a different explanation. Let me know in the comments. Also, go check out my sources, which can be found in the YouTube description. Leave me a comment, rate, like, subscribe, follow. I'd really appreciate all of that. I would love that. Go check out the 45 45 second version I do of all these, a condensed version. You can find me on social media at smartest year ever. That's how you can find me. And in the meantime, stay curious and stay clever on our quest to become the world's greatest conversationalists. I'll see you tomorrow in the smartest year ever.